Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Foreign Correspondent Club of Thailand. My name is Panu Wongchaum. I'm the club president and senior correspondent for Reuters. Today, we are having a panel discussion on what's next for Thai politics. Thai politics has once again reached a critical juncture, with the government facing numerous challenges, obviously. We've heard today that the Constitutional Court will make its decision by the end of this month on the Prime Minister's case about her leaked phone call with Cambodia's former leader Hun Sen. And right now, as she is suspended, we are left with an acting PM in charge while the countries are facing crises, including ongoing border situation and the faltering economy. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister's father, former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, who is seen largely as the power behind the ruling Pheu Thai party, is also facing two court cases. One judgment, I think, coming late next week and another early September, that could see him go to jail. Meanwhile, the ruling coalition is hanging on to power by a slender majority in parliament after the withdrawal from the coalition of Bhumjaithai party in June. Public confidence in the government has been declining. There have been protests on the streets of Bangkok. This is all the recipe for the classic sort of Thai crisis unfolding. So I think it's very timely we're hosting this panel. And I want to introduce all of you to our distinguished panelists. So may you take your seats. I'll introduce each one of you. So we have Kun Ratkrao Suwankiri, who is a former deputy government spokesperson and a former member of the United Thai Nation Party. And then we have Kun Chaiwat Sathawarnvichit, an MP from the People's Party, right there on the far right. And Kun Shalat Rajagit Prakan, an MP from Bhumjaithai party, right here. And last but not least, Kun Virapat Periyawong, who is a former special counsel to the Deputy PM of Thailand and a founder of VLA Law Office. So all four are sort of, I guess, the upcoming faces of Thai politics. We have, of course, on the right side, we have two acting MPs who very kindly joined us today during this 3-day budget debate in Parliament. And on this side, we have Dr. Kun Virapat, who's a well-known analyst, and of course, full disclosure, he was nominated by the Pheu Thai party when we organized this panel. And right next to me, Kun Nene Ratkrao Suwankiri, who was a former government spokesperson during the Setha administration. Without further ado, I would start off with Kun Chaiwat. I think Kun Chaiwat from People's Party, I mean, I painted the picture of the ongoing situation in Thai politics right now. Since the 2023 election, we have seen a lot of sort of political reform that your party spoke about stalling, right? The constitution hasn't been amended. There has been very little progress on that front. And now we're facing all these crises with the courts and everything. I guess, please tell us what you think where Thai politics is heading. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Kun Panu. And also thank you to the FCCT to host this panel discussion. It's my pleasure to be here tonight with all the guests here. My name is Chaiwat from People's Party. I am a Panelist MP. Today we have a second reading of the budget bill, so I rushed out from the Parliament to join this event. I think the central question around the discussion today is about whether Thailand is heading toward another political crisis and return to the vicious cycle of protest, cycle of coup, and cycle of turbulence that bring political instability. With all due respect to the host, I believe this might not be the right question because we are not heading toward a crisis. According to my experience from my childhood day, we have been living in a state of chronic and engineered political crisis for years, and the cycle has never ended yet. If we look at the court cases, the cases of the suspended Prime Minister Paetongtarn, court cases of Kun Thaksin Shinawatra, the court cases of my 44 MP colleagues. We have so many cases, you name it. If we look at the faltering Thai economy, if we look at the protests on the streets, these are not accidents. They are predictable. They are totally predictable and intended or unintended. They are the consequence of a ruling system designed in the 2017 Constitution. It's not designed for the democratic governance, but designed for the absolute control, and it is a system that designed to ensure that government formed on the mandate of people can never truly succeed in ruling without the license from the establishment. So I think the fact that we are debating constitutional court cases and not the implementation of the policies that the people voted for has proved my point, because this system is not designed for the governance and this is designed for authoritarian control. So I think if we look at the current government predicament, it's just inevitable result of a political compromise which they had chosen to be a part of this rigid system, and now we all see the consequence. I think many people, after hearing the recent news that the Constitutional Court gonna rule out the case on Kun Paetongtarn on the 29th of August, many questions raised. What do you think? What will she be punished from this system that I said so far? I think the result is pretty much predictable. Yeah, we now see the consequence of the rigid system, and I and my parties, the People's Party, we believe that we cannot escape this vicious cycle by playing a rigid game. We have to change the rules. So tonight I'm here not only to discuss about the symptoms of the ongoing Thailand's turmoil, but also I think we should discuss what are the true cure of this political instability, these vicious cycles. And I think the true cure is a new constitution that written by people, in order to break this vicious cycle. And it's time for the future rooted in a real mandate from people that is free from the backroom dealing, free from the judicial overreach. So I think for my first round, yeah, thank you.
Sure, thank you, Dr. Shinawatra. I'll go next to Kun Chalat, if that's okay. Of course, Bhumjaithai is a major player in all this current going on. How do you and how do your party see sort of, the unfolding situation? Is there still hope in parliamentary democracy? Is there, what's your view on the ongoing situation?
Thank you very much, Khun Panu. I'm Charat Ratchapkan, Member of Parliament from Bhumjaithai Party. In my personal opinion, to answer that, there's two questions to this. So the first part is, are we in a political crisis? In my opinion, yes. But will we go back to those vicious cycle? I think there are certain measures and certain steps that need to be done and needs to pass first before we can reach that. And I would like to thank the People's Party as well on this regards, because they were the one who announced that, okay, for the political view, for there not to be the vicious cycle, or for there not to be a coup, they are willing to vote for the Prime Minister candidate, whoever is willing to change the constitution. And I think that statement alone helps a lot. So before I go to the meat or to the rest of the information, I would like to thank Pheu Thai Party and the Move Forward Party back in the days, how they, in my opinion, innovated the Thai politics. So back in Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra days, how he used the local television, the local radio, reaching to the people and raising an awareness of the people in the countryside, how they can get involved. And 20 years have passed, and I think the Move Forward Party did the same thing today. I think it gave relevance, and it gave the awareness of all the younger generation who might not think that politics is actually close to them, and it might not actually affect them. From my personal experience before I became an MP, when I was studying abroad, when I was 16, I came back for a summer break or something. I mean, the coup would happen, and all I would ever think about is, what is going on? Why am I having to face all this traffic? And that was it. No policy, no parties, just a massive headache of causing traffic. So, I mean, it's thanks to both parties who are bringing mostly the rural areas to be aware of Thai politics, and for the younger generation as well. But I think the more important thing is, with the current government, I think I have to thank Pheu Thai Party for this, to raise the points of the people's right. Because you can no longer treat an election or yourself without respect anymore. Because once you have chosen, or once you have voted, there's going to be a point of no return for at least the next 4 years, or whenever another political crisis happens. So from now on, with the situation going on, with this political crisis going on, you need to be more aware of your rights, and you need to think more carefully. So, coming back to, I think I came to the FCCT quite a few times, and an important issue, or an issue that has been said a lot, is about the constitutional court, or the power of the constitutional court. So, I would still say that we still live in a developing country. As much as we love to claim that we're a developed country, but from a political point of view, like, without the constitutional court, if it doesn't exist, as excessive as it is in terms of power, no people will ever be accountable without their ruling. So with their power, they have a jurisdiction of I think it's no longer than 2 months or something, which they will know the result. But in other more developed countries, like the UK or like Japan, if you do something wrong, and if you know the peoples are no longer in your favor, you have the spirit to walk out and say, okay, I'm sorry. This is it. That can be a re-election, or that can be a new choosing of the Prime Minister or whatsoever. So I think this spirit alone still calls for the Constitutional Court, even though I might not agree the whole way of how much power they have or the independent agencies. But we'd rather have the Constitutional Court of ruling for 3 or 4 months rather than using other tools that might take 3 to 4 years or 10 years for the normal legal system to work out. And so I think if you treat politicians, and the vicious cycle always happens because once you've been in power for a long time, you tend to disregard, it might be quite a strong word, but you tend to disregard what the people actually want and what, and instead of like asking for their opinion, it turns to more of their own benefits. So I would like to give an example of Kun Bhumjaithai's recent speech after the cabinet meeting about the poker tournament. So I think the what's it called, the ใบอนุญาต
Or like the permit.
The permit of the poker tournament happened really fast, and what he said was, they always stand for the people, and I would agree that in the past they have, and even me, I'm part of the fan of Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra. But what was said in that interview was, so if we have to ask every legislation or every permit to the people, then we'll never get anything done. So on that statement alone, it saddens me quite a bit. So that's why I think without the power of the Constitutional Court, nothing can ever be done. Of course, there needs to be change on this regard as well. And for the end of the month ruling, I think the power goes back to the people. So whether Prime Minister Paetongtarn has to go out of the cabinet or whether to stay in, I think it's up to the people to decide, and whether they're happy with the decision that the Constitutional Court makes. And if they're not, then we might go back to the vicious cycle that we are always afraid of. Yeah, okay. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Kun Shanat. I go next to you, Kun Raklao. I think we heard from the first two speakers. Of course, Kun Shinawatra mentioned, it's a long crisis, and there's a need for amending of the constitution. Meanwhile, Kun Shinawatra speaks about the need for checks and balances, through the mechanism of the court. How do you see sort of Thai political situation right now? And mind you, just before you start, I just realized recently that you also quit your party recently. So you've been working from the conservative side of Thai politics, although not necessarily now, since she's quit the party. But I think we want to hear your point of view about sort of, how you see all this going forward.
Okay, thank you, Khun Panu. It saddened me that you don't follow my news. But yes, I just recently left the United Nations Party. We're good friends, I'm just picking on him. He said that this would be a casual conversation, so I try to hopefully keep it casual as he promised. And I think if we are to say that Thai politics is in crisis, I may call it more of a crossroad. I would call more of a crossroad because if in comparison to other countries that running in a democratic scheme, Thailand not even 100 years old yet. We're still quite young with our adaptation to the democracy, which I don't believe there's a one shoe fits all for any country. We always have to find what's best fit for our country. So leave at that note, comparing to France, who have like 230 years of democracy. So I think Thailand is still walking our steps towards having the, what would we be calling the proper democracy in our own way. But at this crossroad, in many ways, the situation is like a deja vu. We have suspended Prime Minister. We've seen that before. We have coalition clinging to powers with race-thin majorities. That's nothing new. And we have legal battles amongst especially like powerful figures. That's also not new. And then we're also having a rising public frustration. What are Thai people frustrated about right now? If to share, I would say it's mainly three things. First are the political situation that we have been in. With the race-in parliament majority, ever since Bhumjaithai decided to leave, the government is leaving the coalition to become quite vulnerable, I must say. Because the government survival is now like week by week, votes by votes. It's kind of hard to run a country to actually passing out any legislative, having such a thin lines of majorities. And history say when government in Thailand lose the ability to pass legislation or the command legitimacy, it often creates space for other actors. By other actors, whether it be the judiciary, whether it be the military, or even within the coalition themselves, someone might step up and take into actions. So that's the kind of situation that the government is running in right now, quite fragile, I would say. So that's one thing that Thai people are quite frustrated about. And the second thing would be the economic crisis, as we all know, with the tariff. I would say 19 is better than 36, of course. But the 19%, it came with a price. We have to open our market to over 10,000 of US products at zero tariff. And for me, the most expensive price that we have to pay to receive this 19% is to allow external party to come and handle the conflicts of our neighboring conflicts, which in another way, it reflects or embedded on the image that people already thinking that the government of Thailand is fragile as it is on the political side, and now handling the conflicts that's happening alongside with our neighborhood. We still need someone to come help us out to mitigate that conflict. So that on top of the two things, it's kind of putting Thailand into a concerning position when it comes to gaining trust or gaining confidence, a simple word I cannot think, okay? And the third thing that I think Thai publics are very frustrated about is the border crisis that's going on, which I wouldn't say all, but majority of, well, I can't say majority, a lot of Thai people would, trying to be most political correct right now, but I would say a lot of people would have many questions about how the conflict started. It started some say it started from a personal conflict that has escalated to a national conflict, which for that is on top to the first two points that I have made that have made the government quite fragile already. And now the third point have come on top to make the government become even more fragile than they was before. And then it also raised many questions that when the conflict is ongoing, the military seems to be very active and very fast at action. But in comparison to the actions taken by the government or the officials, bodies, seems to be on a different pace. So that's also raised another set of questions of is there some sort of deals that's going on? How come the government seems to be taking things so slow? So with all those frustrations going on, of course, we see people on the roads, and we are ending up asking ourselves, are we falling back into the repeating old coup and protest and then coup? But I think that depends on three players: the courts, the security, and the political coalition. With the courts, obviously we are right now looking forward to see what would be turned out between the two decisions, one for Kun Paetongtarn and one for Kun Thaksin. So whatever the result will come out from the court, that would definitely predict of what situation of this crossroad would it turn out to be a crisis. That's one of the main player. And then the security itself, I personally don't think a coup d'etat will happen, because hearing so many things from the military side, I know that military, they do not want to do coup d'etat themselves too, because every time military step up and do a coup, they also hurt themselves. People lose trust on them. And then, from what I heard from the higher official, he said that the militaries already have so many scars, they don't want any more of it. So if there's any real serious cases that would require any types of action of coup, I don't think the military would come up. So hopefully I'm guessing right. And the last player would be the political coalition themselves, how they handle the situation in the parliament. So that would be the three players who would determine if Thai politics is in the crossroad or we turning towards the crisis.
Thank you ครับคุณนายแน่ Dr. คุณวีรพัฒน์ครับ I go to you last. I guess give us your thoughts on what's going on. Again, when we reach out to Pheu Thai party, they send you out. So I know that you may not be speaking on behalf of the party, but I guess please let us know what you think about whether we're in political crisis or not.
Thank you, Khun Panu. Good evening, everyone. I should be sending bills to Pheu Thai party, given that I've been giving so many interviews at requests unknowns to me. I think the coup d'etat de facto perhaps has already taken place when the F-16 found missiles at those targets. I would bet my money that the civilian government really didn't have a part, or well, they had some part, but they didn't really know the decision-making process of what's going on. And if you go back to the Facebook page of Gong Thap Pakที่ 2, the 2nd Regiment, who's in control of the narrative right now, I remember vividly as soon as I heard saw the tweet or the X alert coming up that, F-16 now hits the target. I became aware that the Facebook page of the 2nd Regiment Army became like a live action movie commentary. And you can ask your Thai colleagues to go back to that very date, to that very same day, that moment when the news broke that the Thai retaliation, so-called, took place. And I wonder who was in charge of controlling or running the narrative of the bilateral relations between those two countries. Of course, when you ask some commentators, they would argue that the law, the so-called martial law, authorizes the military leadership to have the say, to have the control, but but only at the border. They do not supposed to have the control over the overall military or foreign policy. By engaging in such combative acts, though very much patriotic and in the interest of Thailand, I would pose a question that they no longer need to bring out tanks in order to control the minister of the ministries or the prime minister. They basically show to the Thai society that the real power in times of crisis, or as Kun Shinawatra said, engineer crisis, has always been with those military men with guns, and now with F-16. So it also occurs to me that perhaps we should ask, and forgive me if there are any Swedish friends here, whether Gripen fighter jets deal could be sealed off so quickly without this conflict. Or to put the question in reverse, would the Thai civilian government have any legitimate or politically sound standing to say to the military commanders that now is not the time to spend money on these fighter jets? We still have capable jets. F-16 has been in service for a while, but they still managed to deliver what was supposed to deliver. And now we spent billions and billions more on buying these equipments. So to come back to your point, Kunrat Glau, I don't think now we need to shut down the place and go home and we have old general coming out on TV. Now we have these Facebook pages running the show. And I think that is quite something that I didn't quite imagine about 12 years ago when I came here in 2014, I think, when Kun Jonathan was still running the show. Now you look like the next James Bond, Kun Jonathan. And I suppose the presidency is well remunerated, given that Kun Jonathan left and he now looks very fit. And not to say anything about Kun Panu, of course. But I'm glad that Kun Panu is now hosting the. But coming back to the original point, I think we're now entering a new phase where the military is now no longer shy to show that they are running the show, because Kun Raka correctly pointed out that they don't want to be embroiled in the so-called uncle's coup, Uncle Prawit or Uncle Prayut's coup, but now they are the patriotic savior, the guardian of the country at the time when the civilian prime minister, suspended in parentheses, cannot act because the court somehow tells she is still legally the prime minister, although she cannot act in practice. So this is a very interesting development, because for the past 5 or 6 years or so after the downfall of General Prayut and General Prawit, there seems to be a brief moment of a strong momentum, a strong urge for new waves of political leadership, Kun Thanathorn, Kun Pitha, for example, and the hope that perhaps Kun Setha could so-called ignite Thailand. But now the momentum seems to have shifted, and it all comes back to the same old formula. And I repeat myself, this is my 3rd time here, but the previous 2 times I said, because the decision-making process has been broken always. The decision-making process has never really belonged to the Thai people. When we look at the pending case, which we will probably hear the result on the 29th of August, it is a clear case of political question. It is not the case for any lawyers or political scientists or senior judges to debate among 9 of them and say, oh, this is unpatriotic comment to be made in a private telephone call. Of course, those comments should be scrutinized and judged at the ballots by the people. And now Kun Paetongtarn should be in office sweating because she doesn't know if she can survive the next election. But that is not the case. We are actually repeating what her father has always claimed, that, oh, I am the elected prime minister, but you remove me through these coups or through these courts, so I still have some legitimate claim to be back. I can still go around the country and say, I am the elected leader who was robbed of the power. And I don't think Kun Paetongtarn would repeat that narrative, but people surrounding her might be repeating those narratives. So we are facing two situations where the military seems to find a perfect opportunity to assert its influence, which is not available to them before, but at the same time we are still dealing with the ever present judicial and non-elected bodies asserting the influence. And I think this combination of the dual unelected powers can present quite a clear and present danger, not just to Pheu Thai, but think about Move Forward Party or Future Forward Party or whatever party that is going to be reincarnated, or smaller parties who wants to have a say. Unless you can rely on the real votes and real decision-making process by the people and have a clear divide between political question and legal question, then we are going to be back in the same situation. But the worst part of it is, right now, I think it is perhaps not an illegitimate question to pose, that could we have avoided the situation at the border? Let's say, for example, if Kun Paetongtarn doesn't have to be scared or cave into the so-called us and them narrative, which is during those 17 minutes conversation with Hun Sen, is quite telling about the current state of Thai politics vis-a-vis relationship between civilian government and military. If she didn't have to bother whether she could trust her general, let's say she could trust the Thai generals, and let's say she doesn't have to bother about the courts coming in to decide her political fate, it's her own doing that she has to answer to the people at the ballots. Would she have more, some would say, courage or political expediency to perhaps say that I am not going to order F-16 to strike. I'm going to continue my policy of trying to resolve this amicably, although I'm going to shame Cambodia in the world stage, but I'm not going to order F-16 to strike. I'm not going to order such large-scale tactical military operations. Could we pose a reasonable question that it's politically sensible to revisit that the cost of the lives, especially those innocent lives lost on both sides, is pretty much a good reminder that the cost of having these unelected machinery in place is not just about the sense of this is democracy, this is a legitimate guardian of democracy against those corrupted politicians, but we are talking about the real consequence of deaths, of widowers, of lost sons and lost fathers and crying family members. And I think perhaps there will be moments for the Thai electorates to come to terms with the harsh realities, which were not present before during the past 20 years conflict. Of course, during the Red Shirts crackdown, we had those episodes. But since then, I don't think we have such a stark reminder. But this is a bitter one because there is a strong narrative of us versus them, Thai versus Cambodia. Whereas during the Red Shirts days, when there was a crackdown, it's still Thai people fighting among each other. And I don't like to see such more bloodshed becoming a matter of political expediency, especially for those who were not elected in the first place.
Thank you, Khap Kun Virapat. I'm going to, before I turn over the question and answer, I'm going to ask each of the panelists a quick follow-up question, so short answer. Kun Shinawatra, Khap, I mean, you mentioned, in your opening statement about sort of this is a long crisis and the key area, amending the constitution, the 2017 constitution has always been your party's goal. You've been in parliament for quite some time now. How do you see this actually unfolding? Do you think there's a chance, and how could it work? How can this constitution be amended? With the obstacles that we've seen in the last few years.
Okay, thank you for the question. I think as I've been, I was a central banker before. You won't see many central bankers to join Thai politics. So from my 2 years experience as an MP, how I see the possibility of amending constitutions. Well, I think this is this moment is the most promising time for the success of having the amendment done, because now we are in a deep crisis of trust. I don't think it's the legal crisis, it's the deep crisis of trust for the government. And now, according to the poll, you can see it's very obvious and significant rise of the support for militarism. But I know majority of the Thai people, they're gonna be able to separate from the military professional and the military who are meddling with internal politics for their own profits. We see significant rise in the popularities and support for the military, and significant decline of the support for the current government leaders. And still, if there's gonna be a caretaker Prime Minister, a caretaker government, and if the people give the mandate to this government to let them carry out the Constitution amendment, which I think this day all of us know the problem is there. We cannot bring Thailand anywhere without amending the Constitution. I think this is the most promising time.
Thank you, Kun Charat. You talk a lot about the necessity of the Constitutional Court to keep in checks, sort of the power of elected officials. I mean, how do you see that unfolding? Because it seems to me, and as an observer, that throughout the last 20 years, we've seen this time and time again. And you yourselves, kind of, to be fair to you, you noted that there are certain things that can be improved and fixed and so on. How do you, looking at your colleagues from People's Party, they're talking about amending the Constitution, what's your view on that, and what do you think Bhumjaithai as a party view the system?
It's good that you raised that question, because I was going to add before you asked that about it's the Constitutional Court as well, but also the
Like the National Anti-Corruption Commission or the independent agency?
ไอมาตราที่เรียกว่าอะไรนะความที่นายกโดน
The ethical.
จริยธรรม
The ethical issues.
Yeah, so the ethical issues. I think on that issue alone, it's very broad and very wide, to the extent that it can actually take any politician out, whether good or bad. It has become a political tool. So with Bhumjaithai Party's opinion, or with my opinion especially, I think that there also needs to be change to the Constitutional Court, especially the ethics. Okay, I have to say that my party leader, Kun Anutin, once said that, okay, if you're not good enough, don't come into politics. That is right. But also, in my perspective, you can't use it as a political tool. Whether you might not be a bad person, but when you can use this to like make the truth not so truthful. And that's why I think I agree with the People's Party, and I think if we in the far future ever get to hold a coalition, I think it will be one of the first things that we will have to do.
Thank you. Khun Ratklao, my question to you is a little bit different from the others because I'm just standing here thinking, you recently left UTN. You've spent a lot of your political lives in sort of the conservative circle. How do you see looking ahead? I mean, you look at, so-called Anurak Niyom conservative parties sort of not doing so well across the board. How do you see that going forward from your opinion, from your views?
Well, first of all, I dislike the concept of separating people out by conservative or progressive because I don't believe anyone is purely conservative and anyone is purely progressive. I might be called conservative, but a lot of time I agree what the progressive are trying to do and a lot of things. I think Thailand still can improve. But back to your questions to how the conservative side of politicals are doing is as frustrating, I would say, because it's a new era and people want to see new things from Thai politics. And we are failing over and over and over again to understand our own mistake and coming up with something new that would really answer to the needs of the people. That's kind of one of the reasons that I decided to leave my party because I feel that politicians on the conservative side are not doing their part in giving the people choice to, in the future, choose who will be their representative. Because at the very end right now, they are playing the same old dirty game of politics. By avoiding and not listening to what people are asking them for, pretending that they don't hear it, and just go ahead and doing whatever they think serve their power needs, which I think it's as equal as turning their backs on the people who have put them there in the first place. So my current point of view on conservative side is very concerning. But to say, is it hopeless? I said not, because I still think that I've been experiencing and meeting many very talentful, young, and still very energetic politicians who's on the conservative side. So I'm just waiting to see that. I hear that so many movements, they're trying to get together and perhaps forming up a new parties or clean out the old parties. I don't know what would turn out to be. But something would need to be done, or else the conservative side people would have nowhere to go and no one to lean on. And I think that should be a mutual mission for all politicians on the conservative side to get themselves clean up and come up with a new choice for the people right now.
Thank you, Kap. Khun Virapat, lastly again, just quickly, your main argument was that, the government was never really in charge. And there was this opportune moment, the conflict with Cambodia, that saw the military asserting itself. But the government has been in power for 2 years, I mean, with Hun Sen was Prime Minister, for example. Why wasn't it doing things the way it wanted? Or is this just an opportune moment right now that are changing things? How do you see it?
And precisely, Hun Sen had to leave office thanks to the court. And it comes back to this very central question that the decision-making process has always been broken. We never put the trust in people's hand. As I said, Khun Paetongtarn should be sweating right now. She's perhaps sweating, but for the wrong reason. She's perhaps sweating about, what's going to happen on August 29th, is it? Am I going to live with a legacy like my father that I'm removed from office, being accused of being unpatriotic? But that's actually an easy way out for her, because the right reason for her to be sweating at night is to be blamed for breaking down the popularity of Pheu Thai party, being at a tremendous loss at the election. That should be the cruelest fear for any elected politician. But that has not been the case, because it has never really reached that point when Pheu Thai leadership had to be accountable, fully politically accountable to the people and the votes. It usually comes in forms of political mishaps, uncles come, uncles go. Then we have Kun Seta, Kun Ung Ing debating who's going to be the candidate, and suddenly we have Kun Seta, and because Kun Seta was removed, Kun Ung Ing had to step in when she was still preferring, and I can say this hearing from her family members, she was still hanging on to spend valuable time with her young children. So it comes as if there is no real political decision-making process in place. Now, I'd like to pick up on the point that the People's Power Party has always been very strong, very clear, that we need to amend the Constitution. And I am certainly happy to hear Kun Chalat saying that you support amending the Constitution. But when you look at the mainstream Thai media, Bhumjaithai Party has always been labeled as anti-constitutional amendment. And I picked that up from Kun Ratgau's point that there should be a delineation that not all conservatives are the same, and it's not really fair. So why not? Why not, I ask you, colleagues in the media, try to help us identify, just giving one example because you brought up the constitutional issue. Let's put on a table, a nice table on Facebook, and say, okay, these are members in Bhumjaithai Party who supports constitutional amendment. These are the so-called conservative wing who's happy to back constitutional amendment. But we really haven't got to that point, because even for Pheu Thai, who's supposed to be heavily criticized, they seem to be taking a technocratic path that, okay, let's do this in a very careful way. We are not against amending the Constitution because that's part of the platform to amend the Constitution. We want to make sure that we proceed carefully by asking the courts, the very same court that has toppled down Pheu Thai administration and leadership several times. So it's as if a convenient argument for them at times to lean back on the court, and critics will say, oh, that's so convenient. But because the court is there, you can't blame Pheu Thai purely that the court is there. If they could choose that the court cannot have the power to stop constitutional amendment, I suppose Pheu Thai would choose that path. But because the political expediency of unelected machinery is there, it is quite worrying that sometimes even the elected branch seems to find a way to lean on them. And this is a central key question that we need to perhaps help remind ourselves that before we talked about the lost decade, that Thailand's economy and opportunities are lost because of these vicious circles. But what reminds me from these recent Thai-Cambodian clashes is that real lives are lost. And who knows, if we can't be too optimistic that we won't encounter another round of clashes domestically or internationally. And that's the real cost that I would urge the media to help the Thai society come to terms that these are real lives we are talking about, and the political expediency of these unelected machinery should be held accountable at some point.
Thank you. I'll now open up the floor for questions. We have about half an hour, so I hold that time very well. Same rule apply as always. Please identify yourself, your affiliates, and also please direct questions to what panelists you want to ask. Thaksin.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Thaksin Shinawatra. I'm a Thailand correspondent for CNA. Thank you very much for your insights this evening. This is a question to all four of you. Now, we have been talking about, a way out, about the current political malaise, the current political deadlock that we are heading to. One thing that has been talked about a lot of rumor mongering in the background, especially with the budget debate going on right now, is that we could see one major juncture or political decisions being made after the budget debate, which is the talk about snap elections, that they are dissolving parliament, that we could have a chance to give the decision power back to the people. My question to you is that how likely is a scenario that we are going to see snap elections before 2027? And if yes, especially for each of your respective parties, Is your party ready for snap elections? And how would you see the prospects of your party succeeding at those snap elections?
Okay, who would like to go first? Question, election, are you guys ready?
The most ready party.
Okay. Yeah, I think we are the most ready party.
But do you think it's coming soon?
According to the poll, we still got from the second quarter of this year, our popularity increased from 38 to 46. So I think that is the best starting point. We never have this good starting point at the election, before the election, before. Even the last election 2 years ago, we didn't start at this good starting point. At that time, Pheu was not well known yet. So I think if the election's gonna happen soon, we are ready anytime as a People's Party. Yeah.
Anyone else? Kun Shalat?
I think I'll quote my leader, Kun Anutin, first. So he said that right now our polling is around 13%. And even 4 years ago, we were around 1%. So in terms of growth rate, that's 10 times. That's a lot. In terms of numbers, in terms of everything. So I think we're more than ready to go into an election, and I think we've been ready since the moment that we decided to exit the coalition. Because we know that the leader of a coalition or the current coalition no longer has the trust of the population.
Well, I say one thing that Pheu Thai have right now is the knowledge from what happened to Hun Sen. So they had that experience to learn on. And with Hun Sen, he have to left the position and for the ethical cause. If the same thing happened to Kun Paetongtarn with her very young age, it would deeply impact the rest of her life. So I think the best way out for her is to voluntarily resign, which have to happen before the 29th. If that happens, then it would put the parliament back into the democratic system, into trying to find a new PM, whoever it would be, whether it would still be from Pheu Thai or other parties. The new PM will step up and to continue on the country, which I think it would be the best way, because with the border crisis that's going on, I think the resolve of the parliament right now would deeply impact Thai security also. So I think this would be the most wise choice to go, and whoever the new PM come up in, he would run the country and run the newly budget just for a short period, I believe. And then I think the election will come quite early. So perhaps before the middle of next year, I would project the election would happen.
You two agree as well that in the timing, you didn't really answer. You think there's going to be an election soon?
Well, given the
Situation.
slender majority of the current coalition,
So maybe soon.
I think it can be any time. Yeah.
Yourself?
I think it's going to be around next year.
Next year.
Like no way past that.
Kun Virapaka, what's your view? You're
I
not
can't.
really a politician.
Yeah, I
but-
can't say for Pheu Thai, but I suppose I'm a bit confident that Pheu Thai will try to do its best to avoid any upcoming elections, and will try its best to appease the coalition parties, especially now Rwam Thai Sang Chat and Pukong Thamanat's party are now basically growing as we speak. But we haven't really touched on another dynamic, that is the Senate. And I think it would be quite interesting to follow what's going to come out from the so-called investigation of the colluding to bring in the senators. And if my fear comes to reality, that is, suddenly there seems to be a convenient end where everyone goes home happy, allowing Pheu Thai and coalition to join hands and manage to stay on. But that actually is a bit more tricky because now Bhumjaithai has left the scene. So the theory was with Bhumjaithai staying on, there could be the bridge to the Senate appeasement. But now the situation is quite unknown. I hope to comment one point on Kun Ratklau's point about resigning. If we go back to Kun Seth's time when he was accused of unethically appointing Kun Pichit Chunban as a minister, Kun Pichit actually resigned ahead of the Constitutional Court ruling. But that is not exactly the same situation as Kun Paetongtarn because she was accused of being unethical and unpatriotic in those telephone conversations, private conversations. But I wouldn't be surprised if Kun Paetongtarn, I'm not surprised, I wouldn't be surprised if the Constitutional could come up with some kind of reasoning that although you resign, we need to rule on this matter to ensure, to make it clear whether you are allowed to come back into office or not, which is quite a stretch to the constitutional interpretations. But that has happened before in terms of stretching the Constitution beyond its limits. And I'm sad to say that it could happen again. And for that reason, I come back to my main point. The whole situation is a broken system because the politicians are not sweating for the right reasons. They are sweating for the wrong reasons. And they should be sweating for me, for us, for the voters. But no, they never really have to care because they could always claim that, oh, the system is broken, the constitution is unfair, so I have to come back to prove myself that I am the elected one.
Thank you. Please.
Sean Crispin with the Asia Times. Thank you. It's nice to see some new young faces on the panel. I'd like to ask two questions, if I might. First, there's been a lot of discussion here about the people's will. We're talking about next elections. But at the same time, there's been a certain grudging about how well the military has performed in this instance. And just let me read something real quick here to you, representatives of the democratic system. That NIDA recently held a poll where the question was, which body best serves, represents, protects the national interest. And 75, pardon me, I'm getting old, my eyes aren't as good as they used to be, 75.73% of respondents felt that the military, they had great trust in the military. Let me scroll down here. For the Thai government, 54% had no trust in the government, and 4.6% had great trust. Just the people's perspective on this, yeah? If you believe in NIDA statistical methods. They did, of course, predict a Pheu Thai landslide. That didn't come through. But anyway, the question here is that with this result, if you like, of what's happened on the border, how many of you on the stage believe that the military manufactured this situation? I know there's a lot of he said, she said as to how this all transpired on the border, but how many of you think that this was actually manufactured by the Thai military to achieve this sort of result? And if that's the case, and there seems to be a certain fear amongst you all, what and how would a coup happen in this certain context?
Okay. Who would like to take a stab at that? I mean, you don't have to answer. It's just up to you. So anyone, please.
Let me try this one. I don't think it was a pre-planned situation, but I think it was convenient for them to assert its control beyond what was supposed to be accepted. And I think that's the real issue here. And coming back to your points about the polls, if you look at the popularity of General Prayut or General Prawit during their last days in office, that was plummeting. That was terrible for them. And right now, I think the military regime, the military establishment has come to the conclusion that it's much more convenient for them not to stage coups and run the country, but to actually run the country and try to hamper the civilian government while the civilian government is so-called in office. And I think when I talk about coups, I no longer think about what General Prayut did 13 or 12 years ago, but I'm thinking about the F-16 situation. And I don't think any civilian political leadership would come out and explain, okay, I gave a green light, or I was consulted, or I wholeheartedly gave my power to be under the discretion under martial law. I don't think they would be convenient to say any of those things. And I think that in itself is a bit like a coup.
Any other thoughts from the panelists? Any? Up to you guys. You want Dr. Joe?
Okay,
please.
so well, I don't have enough information to answer, but from what I've seen, we obviously see, as you mentioned, people lost trust in the government. Yeah, just one digit, right? Just about 5 or 6%. So they need to find others who they can trust. And at this time of the border conflict, a lot of boiling sentiments happening, and we've seen news. Our brave soldiers at the borders, they lost their lives, lost their legs, stepping on landmines almost every day. This is where the sentiment of the people are going, and they need to go somewhere. So the military is the place where people trust right now. Though personally, I don't think this is a pre-planned of the military, but I think they took some advantages on this timing. And we've seen the cabinet approve the new purchase of 4 Gripens and the approval of the change of the submarines engines specification, which has been pending for many years. So I think they wisely pick up the great timing of this support from the sentiment. So yeah, this is what it might take.
Okay. Okay, may I add? First of all, I don't think it was planned. And if the Supreme Commander, he had given an interview before and saying that he give high respect to the commanding of the civilian government. But I think with the situation of national security, it cannot be done by just one party. It's the military and the government have to have split roles. At the front line, it should be the work of the military, while alongside working together, ideally, the government should be handling the diplomatic and the communications and the commanding center role of work. But from what I have learned from the military side is that they have been struggling in the front line when the other roles are not actively or playing at the same speed that they are. So with that situation going on, the military have stepped up and doing more than they're supposed to do. And to the defense, I would say it was needed, because you can't run an army while diplomacy is not being done at all, or being like faintly done. So in a way, the military have to also step in and do that part also through the military attaches. So they do what they must to reduce the casualties of their men. This is what I have learned from the generals that I have talked to in previous weeks. And on the communication side, as you all know, the conflict that's going on between Thailand and Cambodia, it's a hybrid war, even though we didn't declare war. But we have communication war going on alongside with the actual military, like armed force war. So without a functional support of an active and fast communication. So in a way, militaries are using their own channels, at least to try to reinforce and give confidence to the people inside of the country, and then in the same time counter what we believe are misinformations being sent out from the other side. So my total point is that if there are proper balance and proper way that military and government work together and divided their roles properly at the beginning, the situation would have not be questionable as we have been speaking right now.
Sure, please.
If I may add, I think I agree with Kun Nene, and I think I have to applaud the
Supreme Commander,
The Supreme
Chief of the
Commander.
Armed Forces, yeah.
and applaud the army. I definitely think this wasn't planned as an act for them to gain popularity as the army or anything. And as I also had the chance to talk with some of the generals, the point with the F-16 and the point with the Gripen and everything is it was the most precise tool that they could use to destroy the opposition's force without harming the civilians. As you all know, what happened, and as we all know now, and as my Foreign Affairs Committee communicated to the EU Parliament, to the Australian Parliament here, was that we were not the first to open fire. And we did not break the Ottawa Agreement. And we did not break any humanitarian law or the Geneva Convention. So by them using their tanks to destroy our petrol station or to destroy hospitals, where our civilian casualties are higher than our military casualties, and with the military choice having their military protocol to make their civilian casualty as small as possible, even though sometimes they hit their tanks in civilian villages. I think I have to applaud the Thai army for this. Thank you very much.
Just a second.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, so everyone there has some grudging respect for the military. So here's how this plays out. Paetongtarn is kicked out of office. Maybe for good measure, you ban Pheu Thai. Next court decision, Thaksin's put in jail. Next court decision, People's Party 44, you're all gone. Maybe dissolve your party again. And Bhumjaithai, you too, right, with your Senate manipulation. Do we not then have the political vacuum that could allow the military to step in?
Up to you. Anyone? Anyone can take the.
What's the question again?
He kind of dropped a bomb and he just walked away casually.
Well-
so big
well, what-
applause to him.
Thanks, Sean.
Well-
But let me digest that.
Yeah.
What
Well,
recap
basically, he's saying that look at all this judicial, sort of projection, right? That it could hurt all parties. It could hurt all elected officials. So what are your thoughts, right? I mean, there could be a real political vacuum. I mean, the judiciary could basically dissolve everyone, right? If every party.
Yeah, that is one of worst scenarios that I think as a political party we have to prepare for, and my party prepare for that. We have more experience.
Well, by the way, my own party, the United Nations Party, they'll be safe. So that would be the good one.
I would just add that perhaps the situation is a bit different after the Thai public has voiced its strong opposition against inefficient and corrupt generals running the country. And I think it's a new dynamic. If you look at the news today, there's this hot issue about the army asking for barbed wire donation, right? That is in the news. In the morning it came out in a post that, okay, whoever have these, I'm not sure if I'm using the correct term, the barbed wires, just donated to the army, and they gave the phone number of the military commando who's supposed to be gathering these barbed wires, and suddenly the social media blew up, saying that, well, what happened to all the taxpayers' money? You can afford these submarines and fighter jets, but not barbed wires. What happens? And I think a few moments ago, the same Facebook page, that very same page of the 2nd Regiment that ran the commentary live when F-16 hit, came out and said, okay, now we've got enough barbed wires, thank you very much. No, we now no longer accept donations. So I think it shows a level of sensitivity to the public sentiment. And whatever happens during those 2 or 3 court cases, I think whoever is considering staging the so-called conventional coup has to ask themselves, aren't we in a more convenient position now, not having to be criticized as politicians, but running the show and try to put in place a weak civilian government, a civilian government who doesn't dare to say, no, I will claim my credit for these F-16 hit. Just like Kun Chalat said, this is a precise military tactical maneuver, but that should be said by the Prime Minister or the Minister of Defense, and then gave orders for the military experts to execute those orders. But that has not been the case, but now it is the case that they decide, execute, and claim for credits without having to be bashed as corrupt politicians.
Okay. I'll give you 2 more questions, please. Whoever's next.
Good evening, it's Pawina from BBC Thai, and I have
BBC
2
Thai.
questions. The first question is for panelists. I know that most of you already answered that you don't think the clashes at the border manufactured by the military, but I want to know if 4 of you think there could be an effort to keep the nationalism sentiment going at this time around where the snap election could happen, or the next election could happen. And the second question is for the People's Party representative. I want to know from your opinion, at this time, I know you said that you're the most ready for the next election if it happens, but the popularity of the military at this time around cannot be underestimated. And I want to know for your party and for yourself, what would be the next best move for your party? First is to join the coalition with Bhumjaithai, which has been speculated before, so you can have the referendum. Or secondly, you would rather go to the polls at this time around where you could risk losing 44 MPs and also 44 MPs, at this time around, go to poll.
Sorry, I didn't note down, so I will answer the second question first. I agree with you that we cannot underestimate the popularity of the military, but I think they have gained support from the Thai people by doing their professional military works in the border, not by doing political work. So last support from that we've seen, I think it's come from the professional military point of view. But when given the situation that there will, if there is any intervention by military and democratic intervention, the story will be totally different. Though, some of the far right might support the military intervention, but I think most people, the sentiment that we see in the poll are from the people who can distinguish this kind of 2 different things. And what is the third question?
The first question is, would you rather join the coalition party if Ms. Paetongtarn is being ousted by the Constitutional Court? Would you rather join the coalition party with Bhumjaithai to amend the constitutions or to have the referendum, or you would rather go to the poll?
I think we have, as the party, we have clearly say that we won't join the current coalition. The only coalition that we would go is after the next election, after the snap election. So the result would depend on, the condition would depend on the result of the next election. How many seats can we get from the people's trust? If we can get somewhere nearly majority, I think that would be easier for us to pick a coalition that is aligned with our policies, because we, unlike the other coalition forming, we want to have coalitions with the shared vision, not by the shared profit.
And the rest, any thought on her first question on nationalism? Is there an interest from the military?
I would urge BBC Thai to help our colleagues here by going back to General Thaksin. General Thaksin came out before the conflict started and gave a very eye-opening interview on how he doesn't want, he was giving this interview before the F-16 strike, but well ahead before the escalation, well ahead before the release of the 17 minutes clip. Pontri Thaksin, the second in charge of the 2nd Regiment. So he gave this, okay, I go to funerals all the time and I still have to pay and support the family members of my fallen comrades, soldiers, subordinates. And again, Thairat reported that piece and social media erupted in applause that, wow, we need these types of military leadership. But he went silent for a bit and then he came out in a U-turn interview. And now, today, 4 hours ago, I'm looking at the Facebook page of Gong Thap Pakที่ 2, the 2nd Regiment. It shows General Thaksin giving lectures, PowerPoints, on tactical values, on national defense, whereas his commanders and his colleagues are posting photos in the battlefield. And I would urge, BBC is very good at this, to investigate or ask General Nat to share whether he was facing some sort of pressure or some sort of order, policy, not to show peaceful sentiment too much to the media. Because that was what happened. And we didn't expect to hear that from military leader in Thailand. So that perhaps is one key piece of evidence, a piece of fact that can shine lights into the thinking of the mainstream military leadership, that perhaps the nationalist sentiment is not their own preference per se, but it's the channeling of the opportunity for them to be in control.
Any other thoughts? If not, yeah.
To shine maybe another point of view, I would say military have been, for the past few years, there have been questions about the way how they run things. And so they have been trying to rebrand, I would say, or trying to show the image to the people that military is someone that the Thai people still can rely on when it comes to national security, and the moment come when the situation comes. So pretty much for communication or branding purpose, I think it is natural that they quickly catch on to this opportunity and how would you say, promote out about their work, so that to regain back the trust of the people towards the military. But I don't deny that there are some things in the military that still need to be changed. There are some flaws that need to be fixed. But the good things also need to be seen and also to be praised. And it's just that at this moment right now, it's just the right moment to raise the rightful image of the military. So pretty much it's just a communication tactic to clean out that branding. That's what I'm saying. I'm kind of asking you to see into another light, that not to put politicize everything, including the way how military trying to communicate out or branding out what they're doing. It may not be all politicized.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that's.
Okay. Oh, please.
If I may add about the word nationalism itself, I think with the border issues right now, it created the word nationalism in our population. But what I want to see and what my ideas of the nationalism itself is for it to be implemented in the political scene as well. So what I mean by that is there's constitute MPs and there's a party list. So the constituent MPs might think about their cities or their region, but nobody ever talks about the good of the country or to develop a long-term strategy for the country to develop at a sustainable pace. So I think with the word nationalism and with the border conflict awakening the population's nationalism, I think we also have to look back at this situation and improve ourselves to create a more prosperous political scene and to create a more sustainable nation as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Last question, Jonathan.
Yeah. I was wondering whether to throw something in at the end. Hope it won't get anyone into trouble. Look, given that at the moment in Thailand, you have a constitution of 279 articles that basically regulate every aspect of political life. You have a constitutional court that can dissolve a party, sack a prime minister, sack politicians on almost any pretext. And when you think about the pretexts under which people have lost their jobs, frankly, it's amazing somebody hasn't been fired by the Constitutional Court for picking their nose. I sometimes think Thailand's a bit like a school. The MPs, the elected MPs are children. Constitutional Court is the principal. We won't even talk about who owns the school. Given that, I want each of the four of you to say, do you believe you're actually living in a democracy, and if so, why?
Thanks, Jonathan. Well, who want to go first?
At least the fact that Jonathan asked very good questions 12 or 13 years ago that led me to live peacefully in London for 10 years and still asking very sharp and correct questions, pertinent questions now. I think the most optimistic way to say is a fragile, aspiring democracy. Well, democracy is not a clear-cut term, is it? It's a stage, it's a process. But it's in a very endangered stage because now we are facing a new dynamic where the military regime, which has previously been accused of, they're going to step in, they're going to take over the power. I don't think the last few weeks prove that is still necessary. I think there are channels for them to assert control. So I think we are in a very fragile stage of what is an aspiring democracy, but I hope we still keep that hope. We still keep that aspiration, and I can still keep coming back to FCCT, meet you, all of you, and Jonathan, and answer these very good questions.
Anyone else? Are we still in a democracy?
Of course, we truly believe in the democracy and equity of people. At least they, no matter who you born, you should have the chance that your potential can be the limit of your life. That is what we believe, and that I think the democracy or democratic system is the thing that enable such kind of ideology. So in our party, we believe in that, and that's the way we our policy are founded to empower the peoples, to demonopolize the business, the monopolies in Thailand, so that people and business, small business can have more opportunity to survive, bring less and less gap among the society.
Kun Shinawatra, please.
Yeah. So I think yes, we are still in a democracy. I think that there are many forms of democracy, and I think for our one it's a work in progress. So, and we could also argue that with the recent US election and with President Trump, is that true democracy as well? Does he hold too much power? And so, adding to Kun Nene's point as well, our democratic system has been here for 90 years.
Less than a century.
Yeah, less than a century. So, and with the point that I made before, that how the Pheu Thai party came about and how they raised awareness for the grassroots people in the rural areas, how the Move Forward Party raised awareness to the younger generation, and how the people are being more aware and are reflecting their opinion on what's right and what's wrong, and what true democracy truly is. So, and as I said, with the word nationalism as well, which would, in my opinion, would be the third phase that we could move to, is democracy towards the good of the nation. So back to the point, back to your question is, yes, we are still a democracy, but I think we're a work in progress.
Nene, you have the last words.
Yeah, so extend to what Kun Tham said. What's democracy without check and balance, right? So I wouldn't argue with you guys that maybe our check and balance in Thailand is not quite balanced at this moment, but as we say, our democracy is still so young. So you coming from so many different countries, and you're coming from so many experiences and many history. What I would beg for you is to please look at Thai democracy, even though you have your own experience, but please spare us the space to grow. We're still working on it, we're still finding our own balance. Even though it is questionable if the constitutional court in Thailand, is it excessive in power? Is it too strong? Why does the court have the power to bring down a PM? Yes, you're asking all the right questions, but is Chuck here? Is Singaporean here? Okay, I'm going to use his country as an example. So good thing he's not here. Don't tell him. Everyone knows Singapore is a great country. And before they come to this place, they used to have a very tough law. Right? It used to be really, really, what do you call excessive with power too. But what that journey, don't tell him. What journey did that take the country to? The people learn to be in order. The people learn to develop themselves into the system to what it's supposed to be. So please, once again, I beg you, if you look at Thailand, be judgmental. That's what you're supposed to do as a journalist. But in the same time, spare us space to be democracy in the Thai way. We are learning, we're developing, and we are finding our own balance. And please give us that room. We're doing it right now. And to whatever extent, is very promising that we are going into the very right way, because we have a very talented young politician right here in front of you. So this is a living evidence to tell you that we are leading to the right way for right democracy. You just have to let us do our works. So just, be patient with us, give us some room. We are growing, but we are leading to the democracy that you will eventually see fit. We are on our way.
Well, on that note, I would like to thank all the panelists for sparing their time this evening. It was a wonderful discussion on sort of the state of Thai politics. Especially thank you for you two at the end there because you have to skip Parliament during this. I mean, this is part of your work, but you skip during the critical budget second reading. If you guys like what you see, please consider become members. I think next Wednesday, we have a panel run by Jonathan over there on, is it the end of Thailand's wheat wonderland? So tune in for that. That could be fun. And yeah, have a good evening, everyone. Take care. ขอบคุณครับ
ขอบคุณค่ะ Thank you